Good morning and welcome to another Daily Devotions with Pastor Joe. I'm Pastor Joe, and this morning I'd like to just take a look back into the book of Joshua again, this time chapter 7, verses 1 through 5, and I know I'm only breaking into the first part of the story here, but it's kind of just the part that I want to focus on for this morning. This comes right after the children of Israel had marched around the city and destroyed the city of Jericho, and they were to take only the gold and the silver and to bring it into the vessels of the Lord, and the not just the gold and silver, but the gold, the silver, the vessels of brass, of iron, and to present it to the Lord for his storehouses. And they weren't to keep anything. They were not to keep anything. No clothes, no precious gems, nothing. And so here it says in verse 1 of Joshua 7, "But the children of Israel committed a trespass in the accursed thing, for Achan, the son of Carmi, the son of Zabdi, the son of Zerah, of the tribe of Judah, took of the accursed thing. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against the children of Israel. And Joshua sent men from Jericho to Ai, which is beside Bethaven, on the east side of Bethel, and spake unto them, saying, Go up, view the country. And the men went up and viewed Ai. And they returned to Joshua and said unto him, Let not all the people go up, but let about 2,000 or 3,000 men go up and smite Ai. And make not all the people labor thither, for they are but a few. So there went up thither of the people about 3,000 men, and they fled before the men of Ai. And the men of Ai smote of them about 30 and 6 men. For they chased them from before the gate even unto Shebarim, and smote them in the going down, wherefore the hearts of the people melted and became as water." And so we find here that something bad happens, because they had just accomplished a massive military victory. They defeated the city of Jericho without the loss of a single Israelite life. And now they are going up before a city that is very small. It's Ai. And Joshua says, well, it's not that big of a city. We could send 2,000, maybe 3,000 men, take it with ease. There is no reason to dive in full force. But there's a few mistakes here that were made, and I'd like to go over those. First of all, Achan made a huge mistake, but we'll get back to him. Second of all, Joshua made a huge mistake, because instead of consulting the Lord and saying, Lord, what would you have me to do next? He instead looked to his own human reasoning and said, look over there, that's Ai, it's a small city. Well, what do you think? Well, it's not going to take that many people, so let's just send a few men so not everybody has to work too hard. And so they sent in a few thousand men on the authority of Joshua, not of the Lord, with, unfortunately, Achan having caused a great trespass against the Lord in the camp, and so many things going wrong that they ended up losing the battle very miserably. They became suddenly very afraid. 36 of the men, or about 36 men that they were able to find, were killed in the process, and they were chased and beaten, and their hearts melted and became like water. They just completely lost it. They couldn't handle it anymore. And so now, because Joshua hadn't consulted the Lord first before diving into this major venture, which he thought was a very small thing, but to the Lord, it was a very big thing. It's a very important thing. And because Achan had committed a sin, because of both of those things being in place, they lost the battle, and they lost 36 men's lives. So there's a couple of very important lessons we can take out of this. Well, first, let's get back to Achan. Achan had stolen, actually, a wedge of gold. I think it was 30 shekels of silver or 20 or 30 shekels of silver. I can look back into that. And a Babylonian garment, I think it was, they said. And he talks later on and tells them, okay, it's a wedge of gold that was 50 shekels, a Babylonish garment, and 200 shekels of silver, and the wedge of gold was 50 shekels. So quite a bit of stuff that he had stolen. He hid it under his tent, in the middle of his tent. He just hid it under the rug, so to speak. And so he had done a very horrible thing, because that was all off limits. God had said specifically, don't take anything for yourselves, and any of the money goes into the Lord's money chambers, into the offering of the Lord, because it's for him and for the upkeep of his work. And so he'd done something horrible, but really, if Joshua would have just done his homework and said, Lord, what do you say? God would have told him, hey, you're not ready for this. You're in a bad position. You've got somebody in your camp that isn't doing right. So instead of consulting the Lord first, Joshua did what was right in his own eyes, and because of that, there was a massive failure. And that's a lesson that we can all take into our own lives, and I've had it in my own life, actually, where I've made a choice without praying about it and suffered for it, and seriously, by the time it was all said and done, I was pretty whipped, and I realized that if I would have just waited and talked to the Lord about it, whether or not I would have taken the opportunity that I took or not, at the Lord's command, it would have went better, because God just wanted to teach me a lesson in coming to Him first and talking to Him about the situation before I make a choice myself. So if you have a choice to make today, and you haven't done any time praying about it, even if you feel kind of all right about it, let me recommend that you take the time to ask the Lord for help and direction and guidance, because it makes a massive world of difference whenever you take the time to come to the Lord and say, Lord, here's the decision that's in front of me. What do you say? Should I do? Should I not do? Should I wait? God will be faithful to let you know. He'll give you a clarity and a peace of mind and a peace in your heart and in your soul that says this is the way or that's the way. You'll know, because God is faithful. He has promised to lead, guide, and direct us all along life's pathways if we just take the time to trust in Him and talk to Him about it. So I'd like to encourage you today, talk to the Lord about whatever decisions you are making in your life, and ask Him if it's a decision that you ought to make or not. Thanks again for joining me for another daily devotion with Pastor Joe. Take the time to get into God's Word, to pray to Him today. I know it'll make a major difference in your life. God bless, and have a wonderful day.